Hello, my name is Josh and I work with video games. So the one thing that I wanted to do a tutorial on was in the video game industry we do a lot with PCs. We work a lot around PCs and not as much consoles but more with computers and PCs specifically. So the tutorial that I wanted to do was a PC build, which is not exactly easy to do with just pictures and a voice, but I'm going to go ahead and try it. The first thing you're going to need is you're going to need the case. This is what houses your computer, your PC, whatever you're building, and this is, uh, the outer casing, the skeleton. The second thing you need would be your processor. This is basically the brain of the computer. This is what everything goes through. This is what powers whatever needs to be done. And that goes into your motherboard, which is your, just excuse that. This is your, I guess, central nervous system. This is everything goes in and out of it through this. This is your command hub, I guess. Following that, you need your power source. This is a CX750. In my rig, I have a CX600. You need an optical drive. You need RAM. This is what your operating system goes onto. If you're building a gaming computer, this is probably pretty important. You need your graphics card. This is a Titan X. This is basically like the top of the line graphics card. In my rig, I have a GeForce 970. You need cooling fans just to keep your rig cool. Hard drive. This is a terabyte hard drive. That's what you store all your information on, and then the rest of the stuff is just cosmetic stuff, phones, keyboards, microphones. Clearly, you need a monitor in order to be able to use your computer, but that you can get to later. Mouse, controller, again, if you're building a gaming computer, or LED lights if you want to make it look fancy. Webcam. This is actually pretty important, especially during your build. So your motherboard is actually very sensitive to static. So what this does is it's called an anti-static band or wristband. Basically, you put this around your wrist and you connect the metal piece either to anything else metal. Usually your case will be somewhat metal, so if you clip it onto there, it basically what it does is it zeroes out your negative electrons so that you're not passing on static to your motherboard. The first thing you want to do is you want to install your processor into your motherboard. On your motherboard there's a little square with it. It looks like a door, a little latch door that you can open up, and you can, and that's what you open up, and that's what you install it into. When you're installing the processor, on the processor on the corner, you want to make sure to touch just the sides. You don't want to be able to be touching all over the middle of it and anything like that. In a corner of your processor, there will be a little marking, almost like a triangle, and there will be the same marking on your motherboard. And you want to line those up before you close down the latch to make sure that it's secure. And once you have those lined up, you can close the latch and your processor is now installed. The next thing you want to do is you want to install your cooling fan onto your processor, your CPU cooling fan. And what this does is keep the processor cool. It keeps it running the way you want it to run. You don't want it overheating because it does have a lot of information that goes through it. This is actually really easy. It usually takes about 4 screws or so, and you're good to go. Next, you want to install the RAM. This is actually really easy. It's almost like I don't know if any of you have gone skiing. If you've gone skiing in the snow, if you put your foot in the boot, and then you're trying to clip it onto your ski, basically you put the toe in and then you clamp the heel down and it pops it into place. It's generally the same idea. You can kind of push it down on there and then kind of force the clamps shut onto it, and it'll be installed then. Now we're ready to put the motherboard into the case, which is easy. You just want to make sure you be careful, make sure you're not touching all over the motherboard. Make sure you're touching as little of the surface area as possible. And cases are usually pretty universal as far as where they line up as screws and motherboards, so it should be pretty easy to do. All you got to do is put it in place and then make sure you're lined up the holes, and then you can screw it in, and make sure you're not screwing it in as tight as you can. It just needs to be secured. The next thing you can install is your graphics card. Your graphics card is what if you're using it for gaming computers, or if you have multiple monitors, this is the best thing to use. As far as like HDMI's, this is obviously an open-faced graphics card, which makes it definitely susceptible to the static, so make sure you're touching as little of the surface area as possible when you're installing. And basically all you have to do is you have to line up, there's this little slot on the motherboard that you can install it, and then the part of the graphics card will be sticking out the back, and that's where you're going to be plugging your USBs and your HDMIs and stuff like that. Next, after you've installed the graphics card, you can install your power source, and your power source is obviously what powers your computer. It just hangs out at the bottom in the back, and that's what plugs into your computer, and it plugs into an outlet. After that, you can install your hard drive, and most cases usually come with about 4 to 6 hard drive slots. So if you're using 6 terabytes of data, then you should be set with as much as that many. And this is actually relatively simple. They just kind of like slide into place, and then a simple screw keeps them in place. Next will be your optical drive. Your optical drive is what you're installing your operating system or any software that you're using a disk for. And this is actually really easy. It just slides in through the top and it plugs into your motherboard. Next is your wiring. Your wiring is actually probably the hardest part about putting together a PC, because usually they're not labeled like this, but it's actually really simple once you can kind of figure out where the layout is and where everything goes, because your motherboard will usually come with some sort of diagram as far as what wire goes where, what plugs in where, and stuff like that. And as far as all the rest of them, they're usually, like I said, they're usually labeled somewhere around the sides of the motherboard, like this picture. And for some of the smaller wires, like your speakers and stuff like that, it'll take a little bit more research in order to figure that out. But just for a little bit of convenience sake, I've put a little diagram about where most of these wires that you're going to be using are going to go. So that was a very brief, quick little demonstration on how to build a PC. Obviously it takes a little more time and effort than that, but for just to get the idea across, that's basically it. It's actually a simple process. You don't have to be a computer science major to do it. I did it when I knew nothing about computers, and now I know more about it, and it's actually made me a little more interested in the topic. So thank you, and have a good day.